name is Sarah Vaden, and I'm with UT Extension in Jefferson County. And I'm here with my co-worker today, Linda Hyder from Sevier County. And we're the Can Girls. No, we're not going to dance for you, but we are going to show you some methods of canning. And today, we're doing the green beans. When I went to select my green beans, it was early in the season, and so I got them from the store. They were not quite as fresh as I wanted them to be. So when you're doing canning in your processing jars and you're doing all that work, try to get as fresh produce as you can. The easiest way to do that is obviously to go out in the garden and pick it. But another thing that I recommend is going to your local farmer's market. Most of those farmers have got up that morning or late the night before and picked the produce and has it for you fresh as it can be. So try to use them. Today we're doing green beans. And I've already washed and fixed the green beans. And so as a child, we found out we were going to break beans a whole lot during the summer. And I can't say that that is something that I cherished. But now that I look backwards on it, it's a precious memory to be sitting around the table with aunts, your mother, your grandmother, your cousins. So take advantage of these times that you can do family moments together. Once the green beans have been washed, then you're going to blanch them for about 5 minutes. And so I have got these in the pot, and I've got them cooking to where they are not mushy. They're just blanched for about 5 minutes. When we get to this point, we're ready to start processing them in the jars. But before we get to that, let me talk just a little bit about the approved recipe. Like it said, for a hot pack, you're going to do that for 5 minutes. It's very important that you follow an approved recipe. There's all kinds of recipes out there that worked for my grandmother 100 years ago. That was on Pinterest, so it must be true. Facebook said so. But we would like for you to go either to the Ball Corporation, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, or the University of Tennessee, or another educational institution to get your recipes, so it'll be a lot safer. So I'll be back with you in a minute. We'll get ready to pack these jars. Okay, we're ready now to start filling our jars, and it's important to heat your jars before you're going to put those hot green beans in there, or you could have a disaster where it would crack. There's 2 methods that I have seen used. I think the most popular one is probably in the oven. So I'm going to reach in here and get one of the jars. And this is like at a 200-degree temperature. The way that I was taught as a child, and it's not right or wrong, you can just have boiling water. Either way, you're going to be ready to roll, okay? So, we're ready to start filling our green beans. This is a funnel, and trust me, there's going to be a lot of times you'll forget things, but you'll just back up and punt. And then I'm kind of draining the juice to start with, and we'll add some water at the end. This is the hot pack method. Now, there are some people that will pack them cold. It's just hard to get as many in there tight. So doing the hot pack, you kind of allow for shrinkage. I know we've said this a dozen times, but every time I want you to check your recipe because you're going to be dealing with Headspace. This handy gadget has the different amounts of Headspace, or I've got a ruler that you can use. Either one will be fine. And the Headspace on these is 1 inch. And so I'll measure down, and guess what? They've made it so handy because the 1 inch is right here at this rim line. So you're going to want to make sure that it is below that rim line. Not a lot below it, just a little. So once I pack them, because you want them packed, you don't want a lot of floating around. I'll see that this one needs several beans, and this one's going to need a few too. I've got some pickling and canning salt here that you can use, and it doesn't take but just a little, so it'll take 1 teaspoon. Oh, here it is. So we're at the 1 teaspoon level. For each jar. So you've got those ready to seal. Now, this is the pan that we've been preheating our jar lids in. Now, obviously, I'm a wimp, so I want to have a little magic going on, and the way I can do that is this is a magnet, and so it's a cool thing. So we'll have that we can grab. But before I do that, there is one process that is very, very important. And that's to clean our jar lid. It would be such a shame to have picked all these green beans and got everything together, and then one little grain of salt could be something that would break the seal. So always make sure that you've cleaned that. Then we're going to take our lids and we'll put the rings on there, and we'll be ready to go. And always check your rings and make sure that you don't have any rust on them from the year before. We'll turn it around, and we're not going to squeeze it totally tight because you're leaving enough room that the bacteria can escape. So don't give it all the muscle you got, okay? Our next favorite little tool is something that will hold the jar. And once again, just like this is keeping my fingers from burning, so is this. And today we're going to do 2 different processes. We're going to do one with the dial counter, and we're going to do one with the weight. So I'm going to set those down in there, and we will be ready to start our processes. Well, here I am with my dial gauge pressure canner. We're doing the green beans, and the recipe says to process it at 11 pounds pressure for 20 minutes. So it's important to have your timer and start your timing. Don't get on the phone, don't get distracted, stick with it. So I set it for 20 minutes. Also, I'm watching my pressure. You want to keep it around 11. In order to watch that, you're going to need to kind of change your temperature knob on your oven to make sure it's around 11. You don't want it to go extremely high because that would be over-processing. You could lose the liquid from your jars, and this would not be a good finished product. So you regulate it. You may need to turn it down just a little bit, the heat, to keep it around 11. On the flip side, if it goes under 11, it's going to be under-processed. So to be honest with you, you would need to start all over again, start your timing when it gets back to 11, and then start the 20 minutes. So it's important to watch that gauge. Let's say you lived in a high elevation on top of a mountain in Gatlinburg. Here in Sevierville, we're at 1,000 feet, so that's the temperature, the recipe that we use. But if there is an altitude change, then you need to adjust your time or your pressure, because the higher the altitude, the lower the temperature water boils. And that low temperature would not be sufficient for taking care of those microorganisms. So you can always check a research-based book. If it's above 1,000 feet, you should check. Usually you add another pound pressure for 2,000 feet, and so on. When you're doing a hot water bath, you usually add more time. So check your altitude. But here in Sevierville, Jefferson County, we're at 1,000 feet, so we just use the standard recipe. Also with a dial gauge, those need to be checked every year for accuracy to make sure they're correct. There again, that would affect the safety of your finished product. UT Extension tests these free of charge. Doesn't take very long to do that. So if you've not had your dial gauge checked for accuracy within the past year, now's a good time to call your extension office and see if they can make an appointment with you to have your pressure checked. Okay, it's beeping. My 20 minutes is up. My processing time is over. So, what's next? You do not move the pot right away. What you're going to do is actually just turn your heat source off, and we're going to let this pressure dial go down to 0. You don't want to force that. You don't want to put cold water on it or anything like that. Just let it naturally go down to 0. Some recipes say you can remove the pot from the heat source by just, physically lifting it up. I usually just leave mine on the burner because you don't want to have the risk of moving those jars inside as you're moving your canners, because you don't want those to break or any of the liquid to spill out of your canning, because it's still processing even though our heat source is off. So I'm going to let this naturally go down to 0, and when it goes down to 0, this little pop top should go down too. So we will see at that time. Okay, so we can see now I have waited and the pressure has gone to 0. So it has depressurized. Another thing that will let me know that it has depressurized too is the safety valve has gone down. So I know now that it is safe to take the weight off of my vent, and I'm going to wait again for 10 minutes before I actually open my canner to get the jar out. So I'm waiting another 10 minutes. One thing I wanted to mention to you when you are doing canning with pressure canning or the weighted gauge is to read over your directions first. We were doing green beans and it only took 20 minutes to actually pressure can. Now some foods, it varies tremendously in what you're canning. For example, if you do potatoes, I think it takes an hour. Corn takes longer, soups, meats. So think about that and the amount of time that you have. Always read your recipe first to see how long it does need to process when you're canning.